Should marijuana be legal? That is a question that politicians and civilians alike are asking themselves as they weigh the benefits and count the costs. Places like North Korea, Uruguay, the Netherlands, the state of Washington, and the state of Colorado have weighed the costs and benefits and chosen legalization to some degree or another. Many countries have no punishment or are very tolerant with no criminal punishment. The purpose of this speech is to identify what marijuana is, the pros and cons to legalizing it, and to identify the reasons why it became illegal in the first place. Cannabis has been used recreationally and medically for thousands of years. Marijuana is the top illegal drug used worldwide. Humans use almost every part of the plant. It grows quickly in many different environments and can grow up to 20 feet. There are few pests that attack it and few other problems challenge its growth. It is a provider of fiber, cloth, paper, soaps, shampoos, foods, oils, and other things as well. Unlike most plants that provide drugs, hemp provides dozens of products. None of these items contain meaningful amounts of THC, the main psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. The physical, economical, and mental costs and benefits are mostly unknown because there has been little to no experimentation in most countries. There are intense supporters on both sides, and many assumptions are made based on things that simply are not fact. There are many unknown facts surrounding why it was legalized. The biggest reason people are cautious about legalization is just the fact that there are too many unknowns. Many people support it under the thought that three good things would happen if worldwide legalization occurred. The first is that it is believed that it will eliminate the illegal trade and associated crime. If marijuana was legal, drug dealers would not be the only seller and no one would take the risk of buying from them. The second is that it would yield a valuable tax source and create jobs. This would really help the government that is deep in debt. In California alone, it is estimated that it could raise at least $1.3 billion a year in revenue. The third thing to happen would be that it would reduce policing costs. Cops would focus their energy on other things. The people who don't support it also have reasons why it should not be legal. Cannabis has both psychological and physiological effects on the human body. Effects while under the influence can include euphoria and anxiety. It is suspected that long-term cannabis use increases risks of schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, major depression, but studies are inconclusive because you can't do a lot of testing because it's illegal, obviously. One of the problems with marijuana effects is that it's not necessarily dangerous by itself, but when you take it with other drugs or already have conditions, it can heighten those conditions or it can heighten the effects of the other drugs. Marijuana affects the brain and memory more than any other part of your body. This can lead to loss of drive and motivation and loss of many brain cells. America's first marijuana law was enacted at Jamestown Colony in Virginia in 1619. It was a law ordering all farmers to grow Indian hemp seed. Hemp was such a critical crop for a number of processes that the government went out of its way to encourage growth. One of the biggest reasons that marijuana is illegal is because of racism and prejudice. Many white politicians influence voting and use resentment towards Mexicans, blacks, Filipinos, and entertainers. In Texas, a senator said on the floor of the Senate, "All Mexicans are crazy, and this stuff, being marijuana, is what makes them crazy." This quote shows how the racism towards Mexicans was a big part to legalize it. It generalizes that all Mexicans are crazy, and Mexicans consume marijuana, which makes them crazy. The racism was not only to Mexicans, but to African Americans, as newspapers in 1934 wrote, "Marijuana influences Negroes to look at white people in the eye, step on white men's shadows, and look at white women twice." This led to growing tension between African Americans and Caucasians. It led to the lie of inequality and white supremacy. This racism was used by politicians to legalize marijuana. One of the scare tactics that they used was a group called the Assassins, who were people who killed people, but they were paid usually in marijuana. And there's no proof that these people actually existed. The government, in a large part, made them up to scare people that marijuana is associated with the people who would be trained to kill people. Then came along Harry J. Anslinger, who used marijuana to make a name for himself. He used racism to inspire fear and hatred of marijuana. Here are some of his quotes. There are 100,000 total marijuana smokers in the U.S., and most are Negroes, Hispanics, Filipinos, and entertainers. Their satanic music, jazz, and swing result from marijuana use. This marijuana causes white women to seek sexual relations with Negroes, entertainers, and many others. Another quote is, marijuana is an addictive drug which produces in its users insanity, criminality, and death. And regardless of how it became illegal, marijuana is becoming more and more popular. Marijuana has become a very popular topic in art and pop culture today. It can be heard in many popular songs and has been seen in many popular movies. Many popular rap and hip-hop artists have lyrics that talk about the use of marijuana. The Rastafarian culture heavily involves the consumption of marijuana and has gained visibility and popularity through well-known artists such as Bob Marley. Many movies of the cult genre involve main characters consuming large amounts of marijuana. In most countries around the world, there is no criminal punishment for the use of marijuana, while it is recognized as illegal. In most countries, you face no prison time, but may receive a warning or a fine. In the U.S. and abroad, it has become increasingly accepted to use medical marijuana for the treatment of illnesses. The most well-known is cancer. Support of marijuana has increased shockingly since it was first legalized. A survey taken in 1969 showed that only 16% of voters in the U.S. supported legalization. By 2005, that same survey's numbers had increased to 36%. Then again in 2009, the numbers had jumped to 56%. The survey in 2009 also found a difference in age groups for those that think marijuana should be legal and those that still support prohibition on it. 60% of 18 to 29-year-olds favored legalization, while only 48% of those aged 30 to 64 and 36% of people older than that feel that it should be legalized. In conclusion, these numbers would show that support is on the rise, and many people believe that if all goes well in Washington and Colorado, national legalization cannot be far away. This will continue to be a controversial topic in the United States as well, as there always will be people with strong beliefs on either side of it. There are valid arguments to be made for both legalization and continued prohibition. It is interesting that it has not always been illegal in the United States. Marijuana is a hallucinogenic drug that has many products and uses besides its drug form. Marijuana could, in theory, be good for the economy and for health issues. Sales of marijuana would increase money flow and jobs, while marijuana could be used more freely to treat medical illnesses. At the same time, it is dangerous when consumed with other drugs and has serious mental and motivational consequences. One of the main reasons that it became illegal can be attributed to racism and prejudice. Politicians quickly turned the already existing hatred of Mexicans, blacks, Filipinos, and entertainers into fuel the illegalization of marijuana. Politicians will again play a significant role in the future of marijuana in the United States. It will be very interesting to see what the future will bring.